Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're setting the stage for a really fun, kind of playful, yet completely logical masterclass on the invisible rules that literally govern our entire world. You know, whether you realize it or not, absolutely everything around us, from the crazy weather shifting outside your window to the grades we get, and even the whole trajectory of our lives, it's all driven by this hidden engine of logic. Life can totally feel overwhelming sometimes, right? Like a series of random things just happening to us. But when you actually uncover the foundational principles at play, you realize it's anything but random. We're going to break down those core building blocks today. By taking these complex systems and making them beautifully simple, we're going to train your mind to start seeing the matrix of everyday life. And the best part, you'll be able to use that logic to your complete advantage.
So, why do things happen the way they do? It's the ultimate question, isn't it? Whenever we look out at the world without a framework, we often just see a chaotic, noisy sequence of random events. A car breaks down, a storm rolls in, someone achieves a massive goal. But if we just adjust our lens a bit and look closely at the underlying mechanics, we can actually see this invisible thread connecting every single action in the universe. Nothing ever happens in total isolation. Reality operates on a strict, unbreakable operating system. For every scenario, there's always a catalyst, and there is absolutely always an unavoidable consequence. Really wrapping your head around this is the very first step toward true problem solving.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the rules of reality.
All right, looking at the absolute foundation of our reality bootcamp. On the left side of the equation, we have the cause. The cause is the pure instigator. It's that initial required spark that forcefully makes something else happen. Then, over on the right side, we have the effect, which is the inevitable result. Now, pay attention to the rigid directionality here. Time and logic only move one way. There's just no way you can have the right side of this dynamic without the left side occurring first. The cause is the mandatory action, and the effect is the mandatory reaction. Meaning, if you want to change an effect in your life, you can't just wish the right side away. You've got to travel upstream and alter the cause on the left.
Moving on to Section 2, the detective's tools. We're about to turn you from a passive observer into an active detective.
To really master this mindset, you need to stop just waiting for things to happen. Every top-tier detective relies on specific tools, right? Well, your absolute best tool is this deceptively simple question. What happened first? Asking this is exactly how you identify the root cause of literally any event. It cuts right through the emotional noise and the chaos of a complicated situation. Whenever you're faced with a surprising outcome, you've got to train your brain to trace the timeline backward until you hit that singular starting line of reality. And then, once you've accurately nailed down that starting point, you pull out your second mental tool and ask, what happened next? This question is like an infallible compass. It will always point you directly forward toward the resulting effect. First comes the spark, next comes the fire. First the seed, then the tree. By anchoring your thinking in these two sequential questions, you give yourself the superpower to reverse engineer virtually any event in the universe. We're talking everything from a simple mechanical failure to super complex human behaviors. Section 3, first action, then reaction. Let's transition into our first set of case studies. I love the charming simplicity of this one. Let's actively apply our new detective tools to this primary evidence. We've got a little smiley face pressing a button on a remote control and a red toy truck. Using our tools, let's ask that first question. What happened first? Well, the button was intentionally pressed by the smiley. That is our cause, the input of energy. Now we ask, what happened next? The toy car moved forward. That's our effect, the output. The button press is the absolute, non-negotiable requirement for that car to move. Without that instigating action, the truck is just sitting there, completely motionless. It's the most basic, perfect illustration of energy creating a reaction. All right, let's open a new case. Stepping up from simple mechanics to raw biological instinct. Imagine a wild dog or wolf rapidly sprinting forward, locking onto a target and giving chase. Applying our first tool, we instantly identify this as the clear instigating action. This aggressive forward momentum is undeniably the cause. The energy has been introduced into the environment, and the chain reaction has officially begun.
So, what happened next? I'll pause for just a second here. Based on that undeniable cause, a predator aggressively giving chase, what is the logical, unavoidable reaction forming in your mind right now?
And this brilliantly illustrates the resulting effect. A man sprinting away in a complete panic. Obviously, the guy running isn't just out for a random leisurely jog. His behavior is the direct logical effect forced by the chasing dog. Cause meet effect. When you thoroughly understand the cause in any environment, the resulting effect becomes entirely predictable. In nature, biology, and human psychology, understanding this sequence is quite literally a matter of survival.
Section 4, Logic in Everyday Life. Let's shift gears into a faster-paced look at how these rules govern everything around us. Let's see how these rules scale up to the massive environment we live in. Take a look at this shivering thermometer showing freezing sub-zero temperatures paired with a fully built snowman. Asking our first question, what happened first? Well, the atmospheric temperature plummeted. Second question, what happened next? Because the temperature dropped so low, the snow fell from the clouds and stuck to the ground, giving us the perfect frozen materials to build this awesome snowman. Even the weather, which often feels totally chaotic and beyond our control, is strictly bound by these unyielding laws of cause and effect. And we see this dynamic deeply embedded in our own highly relatable human experiences and daily habits, too. Here we have a boy diligently reading, totally focused on studying his textbook. Because he took personal agency and put in that initial, focused effort, which is the underlying cause, he earned a super high score, an A+ on his test paper. The effect. That result wasn't just blind luck, and it definitely wasn't some random gift from the universe. It was directly forced by his preceding action. This highlights an incredibly empowering truth. When you control the cause, you have the immense power to dictate your own desired effects. Let's move to and see how this builds in a rapid-fire reality check across multiple domains. Think about the sky above us. The sun sets, so naturally, it gets dark. Look at ecosystems. It rained heavily throughout the spring, which caused vibrant flowers to bloom everywhere. In high-stakes racing, a driver trained relentlessly for months, leading directly to him winning the trophy. What about a frustrating daily commute? A man overslept his alarm, so he missed his morning train. Or pests at home. A girl was terrified by a sudden mouse, causing her to instinctively yell for help. In every single scenario, zero exceptions. The first action completely dictates the reality of the second. Keeping that analytical momentum going, you realize this logic is absolutely everywhere. Roy was sick, causing him to be totally exhausted and sleep through class. A wooden rocking chair mysteriously begins to move, so the boy is startled. Heavy rain pours endlessly, so a man opens his umbrella to stay dry. So the crucial point is, action always without fail forces a reaction. Our entire human experience is essentially just a continuous, lifelong chain of navigating these exact causes and effects.
Section 5, the cause and effect expert. It's time to officially crown you a master of these foundational concepts.
Look at this dancing smiley face by the boombox. You have successfully decoded the basic building blocks of reality. By consistently stripping away the noise and just asking what happened first and what happened next, you've officially graduated to a cause and effect expert. You now possess the sharp, logical lens required to make sense of all the complex sequences happening around you. Whether you're analyzing a global event, a business problem, or just a silly miscommunication with a friend, you understand that everything is a connected chain, and you know exactly how to trace those links. I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought to take with you after this explainer ends. What invisible causes and effects are shaping your own reality right now? Seriously, take a careful look around your room, look at your daily schedule, or deeply examine your personal habits today. I challenge you to apply your newly sharpened detective tools to your own life. Trace your daily effects back to their absolute root causes, and just see how much real control you actually have over the trajectory of your world. Thanks for learning with me today.